So, Australia have managed to beat India by 7 wickets in the first ODI that has taken place at the Optus Stadium in Perth. Amongst the 990 points which Harshit claims that I raised, I'll add 2 more.
Yeah.
This is Australia's first ever win at the Optus Stadium. They had lost to England, they had lost to South Africa, they had lost to Pakistan. Now they have managed to win here for the very first time. Second, and more remarkable, this is India's first loss in 2025 when it comes to ODIs. They had I think, whitewashed England 3-0 in the ODIs, won the T20Is 4-1. But in the Champions Trophy, they were unbeaten. And that is where we see that India have suffered a loss after a very long time. The first loss, if I may add, in this particular format. So, overall, outplayed, totally outdone by Australia today. And that's why 992 issues and questions to be raised on this particular show. Firstly, with the way how India responded with the ball. I mean, let's make no mistake
that's your
about
first talking point?
Let's begin with the low-hanging fruit.
I think
After getting rid of head,
the order needs to be reversed if that's what you're starting with.
Reverse pyramid.
no, let's look at it. After getting rid of head, hopes must have risen. After getting rid of Matthew Short, slight hopes, but no.
By then, Siddharth, 40 runs of the 131 were already scored.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. But one more guy will get a lot of hate. I mean, if you look at it,
One more. Who's the first one?
Harshit Rana.
Okay.
The
And
second name, Harshit Rana. The third name, Harshit Rana. Because see, his performances today, 4 overs, none for 27. We saw that he was getting good movement with the ball. 4 overs, none for 27, 88, close to 90 miles per hour he was touching. But he also conceded runs at a very important time during the power play. I think that last over before the power play, I think he got hit. And India just couldn't recover after that particular point in time. Plus, he didn't contribute with the ball also, with the bat also much. Is he your number 8 going forward, that number 8
But he
situation?
He wasn't, right? Today he was number 9.
Yeah, because you gave Aksar the promotion
Exactly.
to number 6. And I just don't understand what you are going to do with Harshit Rana at this point in time. Because see, he bowled okay in patches, but was absolutely woeful otherwise. But I want to address the main thing once we have a full house. Okay, because now all the claims, whether you were disadvantaged, 5 runs short, Australia won it with close to 5 overs to spare. So all that thing, it wouldn't have helped anyways in that sense. But what do you think went wrong for India?
For one, I think, everything went wrong the second you lost the toss. One, we are not a team that are good at setting targets. That's a fact. You're not a team that's good at setting targets. Then the
Champions Trophy actually would kind of disagree with you on that.
That was an outlier. In general, we know we're a far more comfortable side when it comes to chasing. And that being said, the other reason, and see, it's not an excuse, it's not even a mitigating circumstance. I do think the numerous run breaks killed their momentum. Because at that point, you have to constantly readjust and think, okay, first the rain break, it's from 50 to 49. You're thinking, okay, that's really not much of a change. From 49, it then drops down to and becomes in the 30s. From there, it becomes in the 20s. And you're constantly thinking, okay, what is a good target here? It's bad luck. You happen to be caught in the worst of it. And the other reason why I said the toss was important, because the wicket quite clearly had something in it early on. We saw Stark getting good movement. We saw Hazelwood is getting some serious bounce off the deck. So this is a pitch that was, for a change I may add, very bowler friendly, and I for one enjoyed watching it for that reason. From a purely neutral perspective, I like a white ball match where there is something in it for the bowlers. It just makes the contest that much spicier, makes the batters work for their runs, which is something you sadly don't see a lot in white ball cricket now. You're just so used to, if it's a T20, you'll get 200. If it's an ODI, you'll get 350. I miss the days when those runs meant something. Today's day and age, they don't mean that much. But in that regard, other than that, I think what really also outdid you was that your top 3 failed. That's point number 2.
Which is where...
No, we'll not even come to that. I'm just saying, remove the names here. Your top 3 failed. And what is a very consistent theme we've always had with the Indian team since 2017, 18. Your top three failed and there was a job to do. Recent times, you've had a lower order and a middle order that could kind of rebuild. Today, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. There were some good performances. Yes, I think Akshar had a good run. Rahul had a good run. But
incidentally, I would say the start to India's World Cup campaign against this very side was also very much the same. Your top order was blown away by the Australians and you needed KL Rahul and Virat Kohli to then bail you out. Otherwise, everyone else was sent back to the pavilion packing very early. And and I think this is where conditions come into play. You were playing that match in Chennai, home conditions, tournament opener for you, with the crowd backing you, the surface played out exactly what you had in mind. And I think, we need to be a little circumspect or just cautious, I would say, in referring back to the Champions Trophy, which is something that you guys are talking about. Why I feel so is, while yes, India emerged as champions, they were undefeated, but let's also not forget the fact that India had a huge advantage in comparison to the other teams. They won all their matches, but India were the only team that prior to the start of the tournament knew that they were going to play all their matches in Dubai. So when you say, Siddharth, that was, and when Shane says that was an outlier, and you say that yes, you were good in the Champions Trophy, you also knew very well that this is how the surface is going to play, which is why you had packed up your bowling with spinners. You were the only side when you were looking at, when we were doing SWOT analysis of all the squads. India had gone ahead with an extra spinner at that time. Varun Chakravarti was roped in. There was a Kuldeep. There was a Jadeja. India ensured that they are packing their bowling with enough spinners. So you knew the conditions very well. Look what happened at the Optus today. You hadn't played on a surface like this for a while now. You haven't really done that, in fact, in a long time now in white ball cricket. You haven't. See, it's your first visit to Australia since the 2022 World Cup and you're playing white ball cricket over there. You haven't played any white ball cricket over there. You've played a T20I series, I think, in South Africa after that, but you haven't played white ball bilateral 50 over series over there. So, somewhere I'm saying, what I'm trying to say here is these conditions are a bit alien to this team at the moment. It's used to this domination in the subcontinent, and I'm including Dubai, Sharjah, that entire region as well for you. But otherwise, I think this is where I won't use the word Achilles heel, these conditions for India. But this is where the challenge is for this batting lineup that likes batting till number 8. This is where it will be put to test, and you have a very proud record in 50 over cricket, but remember, much of that has happened while playing in the subcontinent. This now, as you build up to 2027 and you will be having plenty other bilateral series away from home as well, this should give you good preparation, because when you'll be playing in Durban, when you'll be playing in Joburg, you will not be getting the kind of true bounce that you get in Ahmedabad. That's not going to happen. You will not get Optus as well, but you won't get Ahmedabad. It's going to be somewhere in the middle as far as South African conditions are concerned, and this is where that fine-tuning needs to happen for India.
In fact, I dare say, Harshit, it might be closer to Optus. It'll be closer to Optus than it will be to Ahmedabad. Ahmedabad, you are just used to that true bounce where it sits up nicely, hit through the line, and you're good to go. And mind you, in another thing, you have to remember a lot of Indian stadiums as well, while they might be big in terms of capacity, in terms of size, they're not very huge. Ahmedabad is a stadium that packs in a capacity of well over 100,000.
1,30,000.
Right, 1,30,000. But the boundary dimensions aren't that big. Look at. By the way, the Optus for comparison, some of the square boundaries were massive.
Yeah.
Because that's how the nature of the grounds are. Australia, they are a little on the bigger side, and we have to remember that the Optus is a multi-sport stadium. It's not purely a cricket stadium, which then of course means that the dimensions have to be adjusted.
Exactly the same in the second match as well.
And the third. Sydney, not the straight boundaries.
It's not as oval as these two venues are.
Yeah, but Sydney
today was very oval. The boundaries were very, very oval.
Yeah.
The Adelaide Oval will give you oval boundaries,
but again, that is also a multi-pose. And if you look at it, the square leg boundaries are shorter.
Yeah, it's shorter.
In Sydney and Adelaide.
Yeah.
But apart from that, see here, the square boundaries were bigger. The third man fine leg boundaries were shorter in that sense.
Yeah.
But again, if you have to look at acclimatization, okay.
What acclimatization?
You arrive 3 days prior to the tour, okay. Our veterans did not play any kind of a white ball warm-up for 4 months, okay.
Didn't you say you wanted to touch base on this later?
But I am coming to the acclimatization bit now, and based on these two only, because your core group
But the team departed together, no, Siddharth?
They departed together. But if you have to look at this core group, when was the last time they played white ball cricket?
Where was the room for acclimatization, I want to know?
India A, Australia A?
But so many of your players that are
Shreyas
playing
played.
right now, Shreyas may have played that, but you were also caught up with the test match in Delhi, na? Moment it got over, you flew in 48 hours time from then.
Okay, who all flew in? Harshit Rana flew in, Nitish Reddy, he was involved in the test matches.
Yeah.
Washington Sundar was involved in the test matches. KL Rahul was involved in the
Aksar
test
was
matches.
there in the squad.
Aksar was there in the squad.
Shubman was there.
Shubman was there. Okay, so
Siraj was there.
Siraj, 1, 2,
That's
3,
8
4,
or 9
5,
players we've named.
6, 7. 7 players
Arshdeep.
we named. Okay. Arshdeep was
Squad, I think he was there.
No. Test matches he wasn't there.
No, I don't think he was there in the test match squad. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think.
Can we check that? Just double check that, Shivam.
So,
Was Arshdeep in the West Indies test squad? No, he wasn't.
He
There we go.
wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you look at it, Shreyas played the India A series. Okay. He said he can't play red ball, so he decided, okay, I will play only the white ball series.
Which is fair.
Which is fair. Okay. Rohit and Virat both had a rest for 4 months. They could have played 3 white ball games heading into Perth.
Yeah, because I mean,
But then you're just talking about 2 players, na? So that 3 at best, including a Shreyas. That argument should hold true for Shreyas as well. But otherwise, we've named the others who were involved with the test series.
So that is the thing. See, it was a combination of planning the thing that yes, you didn't have that much of time.
So you're saying one of the reasons we lost is acclimatization or the lack of it?
Lack of acclimatization. I mean, if you look at 2022, it took us, I think you were there about 10 to 12 days prior to the T20 World Cup.
yeah.
Yet you scraped over the line against Pakistan. And you lost to South Africa in Optus.
Which is also, by the way, let me remind you, a very spicy wicket.
Yes, this was a spicy wicket also. So that's why lack of proper planning and scheduling. Look at it. You just went 5 days prior to the game. You didn't have any kind of a warm-up. You played perhaps an inter-squad. You had nets.
By the way, for Shubman Gill, since I just happened to see him on the screen, his international captaincy career has on both occasions started with losses.
Correct. England first test and
Yes.
now Australia first ODI.
Yeah. But again, and this will hurt even more because Australia weren't playing their full
There was no
strength.
Patty.
There was no Pat, there was no Alex Carey, there's no Green, there's no, if you look at Zampa, all those guys are big white ball players. So that's
Yeah, these
why
are guys who they were either resting or are just not available due to injury issues.
injury. So that's why, although you did beat an under-experienced England also afterwards. Maybe Adelaide and Sydney will give you that turnaround, but I'm not so sure about it anymore. So lack of acclimatization, looking at the strokes that they played. Could they have played 3 white ball games?
You know, today's
Just to
game,
get into
in
the
fact,
flow.
Correct me, you know, if I'm wrong here. In many ways, the way that the Australians were in command of this match, right from the word go, of course aided by the rain, the fact that India were outplayed for most part of this match, it took me back to that semi-final against Australia in 2015. You were just not in the contest.
Yeah,
You knew that.
Yeah, I mean, this was, see, if you look at it, the power play, it was the lowest since that 2019 July semi-final against New Zealand. It was the
And
lowest.
that was a disastrous one.
It was a disaster. So that's why today there is no place to hide. Your batting failed, and because of that, your bowlers were deflated. And which is why you got 3 wickets. But again, the contest was done and dusted even before. And
See, I think your bowlers, I will forgive for most part the bowling showing here because you were on a hiding to nothing.
Yeah.
You really were. Defending 131 on with a team that, by the way, knew at least what they had to get. Yeah, 136 or 131 is what they were chasing. Not a big total even in 26 overs, but they had the benefit of pacing their innings. You look at it, there was not one moment where they were all going bang bang like crazy. Head had a start like that, but once Head went, they just looked to play attritional cricket and just made it through with that because truth be told, the total didn't demand that they play massively crazy. Philippe had a few good shots with him. Renshaw, but see, was 21 of 24. Mitch Marsh unbeaten, 46 of 52 balls. Those are traditional ODI knocks. There's nothing extra crazy or extravagant about it. Nothing of the sort. They just played simple cricket. And you know why they could do that? Because instead of chasing about 170, 180, they were chasing 130. So actually, the main problem really comes down to your batters. I have really nothing but sympathy for the bowlers who are on a hiding to nothing. You were defending absolutely nothing. The only way you win in this sort of circumstance with your bowling is if you have a Bumrah who can pull a rabbit out of a hat, or a Kuldeep kind of bowler who you didn't play today because, and actually I don't have a problem with that decision because I don't think the pitch was doing anything for any of the spinners.
You know, for the way this chase was poised for Australia, the target, in fact, in that sort of a scenario, looks much smaller than you're actually chasing. So it wasn't really 131. These runs look much lesser. So effectively, it was down to, let's say, a chase of about 100, 110 runs, just about that much. Because the way things had aligned for Australia, how India had batted or how poorly that they batted, after that, I think, you know, there was never really any scoreboard pressure. The bowlers had very little to work with. See, you need to, as a batting unit, you need to give your bowler something to play with, right? You can't just give them 100, 120 runs, 130 runs and expect them to win you the match. So there's only so much, and what that does is when there's no scoreboard pressure, then of course it makes life difficult for the bowlers because the batters will also come hard at you, knowing that, you know, they've got enough batting, they know what the total is, the weather is cleared out, there is no Jasprit Bumrah who can really, you know, threaten to take the game away from you. So all those factors kept together, Australia were always ahead, and the task for the Indian bowlers was always an uphill one. So they were never really going to be, up for it.
Mighty impressive game though for Josh Philippe. I mean, look at it, 37 or 29. Plus, you had those catches taken. I think he had a pretty darn good game, and it was really refreshing to see Australia at least start well. In the previous ODI fixtures that they had, they never started well. So that is why, looking at it, Australia have started this match well. They needed to win this because it was the spiciest wicket you're going to get in the whole series. Sydney would be flat. Adelaide would get a bit of movement, but then after that it becomes flat. But
the weather can do a bit over there.
No, weather is fine for both.
It's never in Adelaide. You
It
know. You never know
I
with
know.
Adelaide
I mean,
weather.
you had that problem in 2022.
Yeah, of course you did.
And you benefited from that rain break, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Bangladesh.
Never mind that. Do you remember the rain in, I think it was the rain in Adelaide, was it? That pretty much ensured that England needed to win all their group games. They had a washout.
No, that was Melbourne.
That was Melbourne.
When England lost to Ireland, and their game against Australia got washed out, they had to win every game.
Exactly.
So that is the thing. But see, coming back, the main culprit, if you have to look at it, in India's loss is the batting. Okay, let's make no mistake about it. And everybody failed today, barring a KL to a certain extent, barring a Nitish and barring an Aksar to a certain extent. But as I said, I have to bring your attention to the two gentlemen. I mean, now we have to bring it because, see, you play after a gap of 4 months, okay? Competitive cricket, I'm talking about June, okay? 4 months later, through intense practice drills, through all those people who were there at Shivaji Park, seeing those kind of practice drills, Virat practiced privately in London, yet their comeback lasted 30 minutes, 22 balls, 8 runs with 1 boundary. Rohit got a good ball, let's make no mistake about it. It was a very good ball from Hazelwood. But Virat, again, playing away from the body, outside of the off stump, getting an edge, but this time not going to slip but to backward point.
I may add to a very nothing ball. Stark was very much on fire today. He was in good rhythm. But that was probably one of the more average balls he bowled that got him a wicket.
Yes, that was,
Is it?
It was an getting out of jail shot.
I mean, I was very surprised. I mean, look at it. I never saw Virat shuffle that much very early in his innings. He does have a trigger movement.
What that tells you is that, let me take you back to the England match in the World Cup that had taken place. Again, India had managed about 240 on that day, if I remember correctly. Suryakumar Yadav had top scored with 40 runs, and you were again struggling.
230, Lucknow.
Yeah, and you were again struggling in that match. Why I remember that, and the point I'm trying to make here is, there you saw with somebody like a Surya and a Rohit as well. What it says, Surya was very slow to get off the blocks, and I think it had taken about 8-10 deliveries, something like that. But what that also told you was that every batter, no matter who you are, you need that strike rotation. No, it was Virat Kohli that I'm talking about. I think he managed. He got
a duck.
He got a duck and he hit one to short cover, I think.
He tried to loft and then he got caught at mid-off.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
So, and that what that told you was no matter who you are as a player, and he was having a very good tournament, but then strike rotations needed. You need to get off the mark. Today was that for a repetition of that for Virat Kohli. I felt today as well. You come in with that reputation. You're a very good ODI player. You're arguably the best ODI player that the sport has seen, but getting off the mark, that is always the key. No matter who you are, you always want to get off the mark. And 6, 7, 8 deliveries, that's always a test of your patience. It's a test of, and at some point, I believe, when you reach that level, it then comes down to the ego as well. You cannot be stranded on 0 after having played out an over. Those days are gone now, where you will think that okay, later on in the match, I'll probably make up for it and all, but. That pressure of not being or that anxiety, I think, gets to you, and that shot revealed the entire story, if you ask me, because nothing short, as we said, it was a loosener from Stark, and nothing that Virat did about it. Very little feet movement, just tries to reach out to the ball, edges it, and that it just looked like a very desperate shot in his case.
I think he's scarred. He has had a big scar on the BGT, because look at it. If you look at the way how he played the shot right on cue, he had the bat very close to the body. Okay, he was not playing that away. He was playing slightly away, but not that away. Look at it. This kind of a shot would go to slip if he was playing well away from the body. Here he was slightly closer, but then what happened? He shuffled across, that trigger movement. He is now so scarred that he just doesn't want to touch any deliveries outside the off stump. He wants to go for the very aggressive shot.
But Siddha, I'll disagree with you just a little bit there in one way. I don't think, the problem isn't, I feel, that he went aggressively. The problem was that he wasn't aggressive enough. Which then I think further goes to your point where you're saying that outside off ball is doing something to him now. It may not be moving, it may not be swinging away, it may not be bouncing too much, but it has reached a point where it's a mental block, because an informed Kohli sees a ball like that and absolutely thrashes. He's not going to be afraid of, I'll thrash and I mistime the shot and it edges. Here it felt like he was trying to play that shot, but was also trying to time it too perfectly, because he didn't want that chance of a slash or an edge, because the slip cordon was in place by that point, and they were showing all the balls he faced. A couple of balls before he was dismissed, he actually did end up tentatively poking at a ball from Stark that ended up missing his outside edge. So at that point, it's already sitting in his mind. He didn't go at it hard enough. The ball was there to be hit. That was my first thought. After watching it, I'm thinking, was this the kind of ball you'd get out to? I said, let's see the replay. And I'm like, no, it's a loosener ball. It's a half volley sort of a length. It's wide of off. In any circumstance, an informed batter whacks that through the offside, whacks it. He ends up slicing it to the guy at point, who just happens to be gleefully standing there just waiting to accept the catch. That in itself tells you that it's mental partly, sure. It's also down to the fact that he's not played enough cricket. It's just, that is the problem with being a one format player. Unfortunately also, one format player in the format that is going to be played the least for quite some time.
Until July 2026.
Even then, I think I'm talking about overall, your bilaterals nowadays are just far more skewed towards T20Is. Unless there is an ODI format tournament coming up. Otherwise, your bilaterals are more often than not skewed to T20s. People prefer those. It's making more money. It's going to be a challenge. And I'm not going to be that person to try judging too early. Of course not. You have to give him time. There is a top player there. He's not going to forget how to bat. But if after one match, I'm not going to question. If I see similar problems after 3 matches, my doubts grow. If I see similar problems after the 3-match ODI series against South Africa, my doubts grow further. What then?
I think we could be in a position in a few weeks' time from now where you will have 2 contrasting numbers or 2 contrasting sort of series from not just the 2 players we're talking about, but from the others around as well. I think these conditions are really going to challenge this Indian team. You haven't played, as I said, and we touched upon as well, you haven't played in these conditions for a while now. And no matter who you are, it takes time, and this whole format thing, so much cricket, etc. It's easier said than done. You're playing against a damn good side. Let's not forget about that. And you need to thank your lucky stars. You're not playing a full strength Australian side. Otherwise, things could have been very different from how they have started off. I'm not saying that there is going to be only doom and gloom for the Indian team over here. I still remain very confident. But I think things will drastically change once you come back home and play that South Africa match. Those South Africa matches. Again, these are conditions which will be to your liking. And that's why no matter when Shane says that his doubts are going to increase in 3 matches, I think those doubts will dissipate also after the next 3 matches. Well, I remain very bullish on the fact that this Indian team will do well in Indian conditions, and that then becomes the dichotomy. What numbers do you look at closely? Well, how is it that you then come to a verdict?
See, you got 6 ODIs in India, okay, until January.
Yeah,
You're
3
playing
against
3 now. You're going to play 2 more, and that's it. You will not play anything overseas until July 2026. England. That's 3 ODIs, but 5 T20Is again. It's a very interesting thing. See, there will never be a right or a wrong answer. What is the cutoff? Like, this is what Harshit pointed out. What will be the cutoff? Am I okay with an average of 30, 35 and a strike rate of 85, 90? Am I okay with that? Or 40 plus, 100 plus strike rate? Is that the new normal? I don't know.
I don't think we're looking at it in terms of absolute numbers. This is where I think you may very well reach a point where you have to rely then on the eye test. Now the eye test is very subjective, but you also have to look at it and say, what am I seeing? And see, this is where unfortunately after this match, I'd say that Rohit has just that wee bit more credit in the bank. It's not because he scored 8 runs. It's also because he got out to an absolute jaffa for delivery. Yeah. That was Hazelwood at his absolute best. It's just a good enough length to draw you forward, and then the pitch does the rest because it makes it absolutely take off. I am not holding that against Rohit. But
go ahead.
But the Kohli dismissal, I was looking at it and I'm like, that is such an ordinary dismissal. It's so ordinary. I cannot believe that he got out to that sort of a ball. And again, it's barest of margins. I'd say it's like, just if it's a little bit more credit, it's like if I'm rating them in terms of how much credit I'm giving them, I'd say Rohit is like an 8 and Kohli is like a 7. So it's really bare, finest margins. But again, I think then where it really comes down to is, it's not so much about how many runs they score, which will also be important. It's also if you've got 100 and say a quick fire 30, I think that should be enough. Because then you'll say, okay, the 30 is being scored with decent rate. I'm not going to look at purely absolutes. Are they looking like they're going to be able to continue on in the tournament? And that making that call requires you to have some sort of a sample size, which is why I'm saying, and I'm using that for my own personal benchmark as well, which is why I'm saying it's too early to judge. But you can also say that the start could not have possibly got worse.
Yeah.
Let's be
frank.
frank.
I do want to take this conversation to something that just dawned on me.
Yeah.
A question for you guys as I try and get my head around this thought. Do you think, it's a very well-visited story that, India wanted to recalibrate. Rohit did all of that after 2022 and you wanted to play a certain brand of cricket. We're all very well versed with that philosophy and that story. It's made the headlines. It's also given you good results as well, right? Do you think that perhaps that whole change of approach, of course, it came from T20 cricket and it also had an effect on ODI cricket, a good effect. But the fact that you knew always you're going to be playing the 50 over World Cup at home, you knew the surfaces you're going to get over here. It was easy for you to adopt that approach because you knew that you were going to be playing the World Cup over here. And so then that Rohit could play with the freedom that he was playing and the others as well. It gave everyone a platform. However, when you now look at this news cycle, when you now know you're not going to be playing the World Cup at home, perhaps conditions, as Shane said, are going to be closer to Optus in South Africa and a fair distance away from the conditions that you're used to playing over here in India. Do you now perhaps think that because there's going to be a radical change in conditions, a drastic change in conditions, that India may have to recalibrate as well, and maybe today was an eye-opener of sorts? Could the series take you in that direction that, listen, we're preparing for something that's 2 years away, but we also need to realize that this is going to be the challenge now for us to go ahead and find our winning formula per se? Or can the formula be the same?
I think you can continue.
See,
See, the problem is, I've got this also.
No, if it's not on.
It is on. It's on. It's on. So, two mics. It is on. It is on.
And you're
Please.
giving a bite.
A bite. Well, I first have to express my happiness at the fact of it. See, as Nikhil said, no, that I should be happy when this happens. I am happy now. You've gotten, if India lose, if both our stalwarts fail,
So you're happy with that?
of course I'm happy with it.
Why?
For the greater good of Indian cricket, if you are to realize, you have to suffer a rude jolt. I'm very sorry about it.
okay, Grindelwald.
No. That you want.
Harry
a
Potter
root
fans will
jolt.
get
I
that.
may have few things
But-
to say which will be critical, but I'm never going to be happy that these two stalwarts have failed. India has lost.
I
That
mean,
should not give me
see,
happiness.
again,
Sadistic.
Yeah,
that's
very
not sadistic. It's not
I
sadistic.
mean, I also have a lot of critical things to say, which we will.
But again, it will be too early.
Acha,
That's the
answer
problem.
The question I'd asked, you were
See,
answering that.
now, as I said, like you mentioned this one particular point, what is the sample size? How will I determine when is it that it is enough? That, okay, we have to look beyond. When will that sample size come up?
No, I'm not saying looking beyond. I'm saying the whole approach.
He's talking about approach, not Kohli and Rohit.
But again, the approach, see, you're going to play a fair number, equal number of games away and at home. During that 26 to 27 period cycle. And you'll have the Asia Cup also in 2027 with the ODI format.
Oh dear.
Now, approach, I don't know how you will plan for an approach in South Africa, where if you look at white ball, you had a mixed number. Okay. You got whitewashed in 2022 in pitches which are not that spicy. But then you did well in pitches which were good also in 2025, in that period.
Yeah. 18 also you did well.
18 you did brilliantly.
Yeah.
So, approach will depend on the kind of personnel, the kind of form that you're carrying in from that particular cycle into this World Cup. That is how I look at the approach. It'll be flexible. I don't think it will be like gung-ho or it will be like cautious. I think it will depend upon the form of the personnel you're carrying at that point.
Basically, I think what he's saying is right. It's too early to tell, but I think you'll have to be flexible. You can't be baseball. That we're playing on Earth, Mars, Moon, doesn't matter. We have to be aggressive. You'll have to be looking to be a little flexible because the kind of conditions you had today, you could not have try transporting the style of play you had in 2023 into conditions like this. You're getting all out for 100. Fact.
You're playing Cape Town, Durban, Centurion, Johannesburg, Haibeha. 5 basic venues where you've had a very mixed record. Haibeha in particular, you've been terrible. But you've had success in Johannesburg. You've had success in Cape Town occasionally. Durban, you've had good success. Pitches are not, except for Johannesburg and Centurion and Haibeha to a certain extent, pitches are not like Optus in South Africa. So it'll depend upon your form and the personnel you're carrying and how they have been in that 1.5 year cycle that's there. Because this is just a trailer. Your real test, if you have to prepare for the World Cup, like I think in the 2011 cycle, you prepared 18 months prior to it, right? That was the pep talk that was given. If I look at the 18-month cutoff, it begins from England. July 2026 until that time.
But my point is, why do we even have to look at the World Cup now? It's just one ODI that has happened. In fact, I'm going to give benefit of the doubt to the Indian team. It's not even an ODI they've played. It was a kind of a
T26
2020 game. So if I'm an Indian fan, am I going to scrutinize it right now? Am I going to look too much into it? I don't think so. For various reasons. As one, you saw that, listen, it's also India playing away from home. And this was one thing. I think it was a very good toss to win. I'm going back to that last ODI that Pakistan and Australia played. Australia were bundled out for 140. So firstly, a wet sort of a pitch, which it had been raining a day prior to that match. It kept raining when India came out to bat. The first 1 hour was always going to be testing. It was always going to be tough. That's one. So it was a good toss to win. Even if Australia would have batted first, they would have found it tough. 2, India is also coming into Australia. Yes, I think the valid argument that one can make is that could India have had a few practice games? I would say yes, they should have, because that helps you get used to the conditions. But now, while we can keep hoping for these things, like we hope for a lot of other things, but we know are not practical. Like we used to say that let there be an off season. There's no off season. Similarly, with the kind of season that you have, where you have back-to-back series, where you finish Asia Cup West Indies starts, you finish West Indies, Australia will start, something or the other. After IPL used to finish, we used to have World Cup. So I think that is the reality. These players do not have the luxury of easing. You ask the player, even they would want it. Today, if you ask a Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, that would you have liked to have played 2 practice games, they would say yes. But there is no availability in terms of how the schedule is planned. Also, Indian cricket is the cash cow. Everyone wants to play against you. So everyone wants you. So if you have to go play everywhere, it's not possible. So ideally, they would have liked that. It's not happened. And I know everyone's now, because Rocco is in the focus and everyone will talk about it. But I guess you look at somebody who's been playing constant cricket like a Shubman Gill, like a Shreyas Iyer to that level. You saw them also get out. So I think by this one match and what happened in this one match, I'm not going to start looking at the World Cup. I think I'm going to see all the 3 ODIs that have happened, what the Indian team is doing. We don't even know, like you were talking about the approach. I don't even know the approach because, as I said, when they came out to bat, one good spell, then you're still thinking of 50 overs, then rain comes, you're thinking 35 overs, then rain comes, now you're told 26 overs. How do I even think of what approach to do or what you're supposed to do? In these conditions, as I said, had the match not been affected by rain, if India were, even if they lost those 3-4 wickets quickly, I think India would have targeted a 200 sort of a run, which they probably could have with a KL Rahul there, and others also would have batted differently. Akshar is quite capable of doing that. You would have seen, and you would have scraped through to 200. It would have given you a fighting total. Win or loss, I don't know, but it would have been a good game. So in that, I'm not looking at too many things as to scrutinize or look at the future by just this one ODI.
I mean, see, they had a chance. We were all discussing it. Rocco had a chance to play 3 games, India versus Australia.
Yeah, but it's not. I agree. Maybe that would have helped. But the thing is that still, I think at home, like, I give an example. Hypothetically, I don't know, like they have a disastrous Australia series, right? You put them in Indian conditions. Will they be like this? I don't think so. I don't think so. You make them, let's say after this, you go and tell them to go play 3 ODIs for any domestic team or whatever. If they had to, there is no domestic ODI at that time. It will only happen after you finish 9 ODI, by which time they would have had enough practice. But hypothetically, if there were some ODI series happening domestically and they were woefully out of form here, they reach in India, do you think they would have scored runs? They would have. So I don't know how much, yes, may have made a marginal difference. Some game time would have helped for sure. But I'm saying I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. I think the issue here is they've played in Australia for many years. But even, as I say, some of the top Australian batters are also finding it tough in these conditions. This was if a proper ODI would have happened, a 200 to 20 sort of a good game pitch, which means bowlers would have dominated. And on top of that, 2 bowlers who, even if they were playing, let's say they had gone to Australia, both these players, without a 200-day gap, having played series at home, you think they would have found it easy playing Hazelwood? Tell me that delivery by Hazelwood to Rohit Sharma.
Yeah.
How many times are you going to, survive that? More often than not, you'd be out to that. So I think it was a one-off. Good bowling conditions. Personally, it makes me happy. I wish there were more ODIs like this.
I mean, loved watching this.
Optus always has given you spicy conditions. I mean, look at the Australia-South Africa game that happened in 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
2022, India versus South Africa, T20 World Cup. That was one of the spiciest pitches I remember.
Pakistan one, I mean, with due apologies, taking nothing away from Pakistan. I mean, they're clearly not in the top of
ODIs.
Of ODI. They beat Australia 12 months ago. Same pitch, 145. Australia were all out.
They won a series after 23 years in Australia.
But that's what I'm saying. Even if Australia were, I'm not saying Australia couldn't have won batting first. They could have. But let's say India would have won toss. Australia were batting first. They would have found the going tough. They would have definitely found the going tough in the first few overs. On top of that, they've got the luck of the draw, which I mentioned in our mid-show. Hazelwood already bowling 7 overs. Yeah, Starks bowling 6.
And again, that you can't
bowling
help.
3-4.
Yeah.
That you can't help it because the rain came at that opportune moment. What can you do about it?
No, kudos to Mitch Marsh. He was smart that way.
Yeah.
When they came back and I was
Local
wondering why
boy.
they're bowling. No, why they're bowling?
Yeah.
He knew that there'll be rain interruption. Let me utilize
My best
Exactly.
bowlers now.
Yeah.
Later there'll be reduction. Why do I have to save those overs?
He knew the conditions. Yeah.
Finished his quota because when they came back for 35, 7 is what he could bowl. He said bowl. He got you Shreyas Iyer. Smart captaincy also. Smart. But they also got, as I said, that luck of the
Yeah, like local boy also knew the conditions about the weather and everything. So that's why, smart captaincy. He got 7 from Hazelwood. He didn't have to utilize Stark because when it was 26 overs, you couldn't bowl a Stark. And he had 2 from Nathan Ellis in the bank. He just had to figure out the one thing which made a big difference for him was Kuhneman. Kuhneman bowling in the death really helped him. And imagine, he was stonked for 2 sixes by Nitish Reddy, but still 2 for 26 at the death. Not bad bowling at all.
Actually, the only over which cost them a little was Matthew Short, where he went for 17 runs. That was the only over. Other than that, I don't think any of their overs, even Mitchell Owen had a pretty decent showing. A little expensive, but I mean, if you're getting 2 wickets at an economy of 6.7, I'm taking that any day of the week.
Exactly. So that's why, see, it is a rude jolt, but too small a sample size. And you are playing 3 more in December, then you're playing 3 more in January. So there is a lot of time in that sense.
That's why I said that right now it's too early to make a judgment call. Sure, you can criticize how they got out or what they played or whatever, but still, I think you need a sample size of at least 6 to 9 games before you start making any sort of a conclusive call. Too early.
But Kohli is clearly spooked by that off stump.
Yeah, I know. No, also, see, what I saw in Kohli, and there was a difference between Kohli and Rohit. I think Kohli was a bit more eager to get off the mark. He was like, and again, this is very unusual for Kohli because he's so good technically. He plays right under his eye, waits for the ball to come in, and then he'll wait, bide his time and get. Today, if you see all his strokes, those short 8-ball stay that he had, he was reaching for the ball. He was over eager, to just get off the mark, And if you see the way he got out as well, though that is not really away from his body, it came, but it's a delivery that's outside the off. So he went for it. But again, I'm not going to look at that being the weakness because it'll have to be a few more times before that happens. I think why it happened today, tough conditions, not easy to bat on, and he was, wanting to just get going. Had that not happened,
exactly what we were talking about as well, and just cross-checked as well. That time it was a 9-ball duck in that England match for Virat Kohli, 2023 World Cup. Again, that eagerness. We were just talking about how no matter who you are as a player, getting off the mark is always riding on your mind.
And also because he's coming back after 200 days. Had he been playing constant cricket, I don't think that. But the difference, see, it's the same for Rohit, but he didn't look that over eager to get off the mark. He waited. In fact, he looked good in that stay that he had. 14 odd balls that he was there.
9 out of 10 batters are getting out to the delivery. There's only going to be one batter out there who's going to be lucky somehow not getting any bat to that ball because
Adelaide.
Just that luck.
Hazelwood, Adelaide.
See,
it was that line, that bounce. Boom.
That bounce.
It was a red ball. That's the only difference.
But
it was exactly like that area. But again, maybe a Rohit Sharma who would have, let's say, just finished a test series in Australia just now and then playing this ODI may have found a slightly better way of dealing with that ball. He's also fresh off the board.
The way that he was playing the ODI, the test series.
I'm saying just fresh off the board. The only thing that I have an issue with is Messrs. Duckworth and Lewis.
And Stern.
That is terrible. In fact, I just did the interview with Mr. Gavaskar. That's going to be up on Sports Today. I asked him the same question. He said, I don't know why I've been going on about this, that, no Duckworth, Lewis, there is a lot of issues that are, unfair. Our VJD method that is used in domestic cricket is far better. He says, when I was in the ICC committee, I recommended it also because it slightly evens out. I mean, there's the exact point that I pointed out that here's a team that was at a disadvantage because they had to keep adjusting while batting first, not knowing what target to go to. And then I would imagine, I'm just looking at I'm not a mathematician and I wouldn't know what is gone into. And I agree that you've lost those quick wickets, whatever be the case. But you're paying a price for losing those quick wickets anyway. My point is, this is a team that has to constantly readjust the total in mind, change the batting approach in mind. That's a big, big loss. Whereas the team that is chasing knows from the get-go what is the total they have to do. So that is a massive disadvantage. And once they finish, you've reduced their total by 5 runs. Not that it would have made a difference. They would have chased it down. But ideally, as I see it, I don't know. Ideally, you should have given another 15 runs to the total that they finished with. That, listen, guys, you didn't understand. You could not go attacking from the word go. You were playing for maybe 200 at one stage because you lost those quick wickets and you wasted. I was just seeing India's difference in the net run rate. That phase of 17 overs, they were going at 3 and over. 3.5 and over. When they know that it's 26, conditions are roughly the same. You've lost those many wickets. They went at 8.5 and over. Now imagine if you're told right at the start, this is what you have to do. Vis-a-vis when you're told mid-winning and you So then if it is, then how are you cutting their runs? 5 runs you've cut for India and you're saying this. You should have given 15 runs to the batting team batting
it's
first.
that murky law of Duckworth Lewison's turn which takes into account resources at the start of play, resources interruption, resources on the resources left on the resumption of play.
I wish we had understood this much of mathematics behind the Duckworth-Lewis method.
You understand?
No way. I cannot.
But Siddharth is going to tell us you guys don't understand. Let me explain.
No. This is one 440 volt wire that I don't want to touch. The
But
Duckworth.
you were happy na, that this happened to India. You said it.
I mean, see, you need
very good it happened to India. You said.
You need a rude jolt. I hope it awakens you and makes you earn more.
Rude awakening you wanted.
Yes, because see, you were coasting along until November 19th. So now, 2/19th, hope it ensures that you do not have a complacent. Because see, somewhere down the line, your law of averages had to work because this was the first loss that you had.
Losing against Australia on the 9th.
On the 19th, there's something, but this was your first loss, by the way, in 2025. You haven't lost an ODI prior to Perth. You won all in the Champions Trophy. You won all the ODIs against England. But as you mentioned it, Harshit, it was in subcontinental conditions. That is the thing. Here, it won't determine your World Cup progress at all. I mean, in fact, this is just you're playing a bilateral because you have to play 2 formats in a bilateral series. It can either be a test or it can be a test T20, test ODI or ODI T20. You have to play an ODI is majbooran. Otherwise, why a random ODI series will get this much hype? In a T20 World Cup preparation year, I don't know.
Your fault, na? You media. You are giving this the hype.
I mean, see, the DLS method and all of that, every nation has had their cons and pros about it. Every nation.
I'd love to hear some of the pros.
I mean, for example, England.
I'm saying I'd like to hear some of the pros. People saying good things about it. There are
That's
not too many who do.
No, see, again, I'm not.
Sri Lanka.
It's not about. See, again, it's not about the DRS or the VJD. I don't want to get. The fact is that even if those, as I said, 15 odd runs would have been added also, it wouldn't have made any difference. Australia would have won on the given day. Australia were the better team on the day, and the better team on the day has won. No doubts about it. But as I said, it's not as big a disaster as it looks, keeping in mind the various factors that were involved in this game. Whether it was the rain, whether it was you losing the toss, whether it was a pitch at play, so many things. At the end, Australia won comfortably. I think it's a hammering. Where you've got 29 balls to spare, 7 wickets in hand. It's a hammering, absolutely agree. But if you're going to say that this seems like a mismatch, no. On a different day, in the same conditions, India win the toss, they're bowling first, slight practice games under your belt. Who knows? It's a different result. I think Adelaide and Sydney after that could have completely different scripts.
Yeah, I mean, Sydney will be the flatter of the wickets. Adelaide will have
But
little.
Sydney, the test match, they produced a very good wicket.
But white ball.
See, I am saying if I'm Australia, I would try and produce these kind of pitches for India. And that's fair. That's fair. But all I'm saying is that in these conditions also on a given day, you will lose to India. But that's fine. Go with your strength. Why not?
Yeah.
Prepare a juicy pitch in Sydney like you did during the test match. They realized it and they produced a juicy pitch in Sydney.
So Dhanush is like saying Rohit and Virat should get farewell ODI home series versus South Africa. Time has come to end. Jaiswal and Tilak should replace them, waiting for Gill to score on a tough pitch.
The last part I think is fair.
Yeah.
Nothing much beyond that.
But see, this is what I'm saying. So you're writing the obituary based on...
As I said,
that's what I'm saying. I'm only saying the only thing which I'll agree with is waiting on Gill to score on a tough pitch. Beyond that, I think this is you're jumping the gun. It's a false start.
yeah, I think you'll have to wait until July 2026. That's the time. I won't change anything until January.
Thanks, Mandar Kelkar, for the love. Mandar, okay.
Mandar Kelkar. So, and Ashish Siddharth, you mentioned he can speak Spanish. Can you do some commentary for a La Liga game in a situation when a goal is scored? Would appreciate. No. Oh,
Spanish.
it is. I mean, it is both Portuguese and
It is-
Spanish in that
it is
sense.
It's
done
also
in-
English.
Yes, it is done in Spanish commentary. Does not mean it's like I know. Listen, I know French. Let me tell you what French do when a cricket match would be happening. Wicket.
Wicket.
Obviously, he will say wicket when the wide.
No, the easiest French word.
Je
in
ne
the world-
parle pas français.
But it will be wicket.
No, the easiest
Wide.
French word in the world, no. Because it's just spelled N-O-N. It's pronounced no. So I know French. We all know French.
Even another three-letter word. Yes.
Oui.
Oui.
He means a proper line.
Sorry, that I have to brush
in
up on my.
Espanol.
Yes.
Por favor.
Por favor.
Sí, sí se puede. Yes, I can. So,
Okay.
Si, senor.
see. Ashish, the true pitches in Australia play 7 batsmen and Kuldeep.
I mean, this is something that we were saying yesterday. But see, somebody pointed out it's the exact 11 that we said India will play.
Yeah.
Three all-rounders.
Exactly, yeah.
Three all-rounders. They
You
will
knew
play.
what she was going to play. You knew Arshad was going to play.
Yeah.
We know Gauti loves an all-rounder extra.
Yeah.
That's always been the case.
That had to be there. Okay. Sujit Santosh. The senior players need to move on. Virat Kohli has become a burden to the team. Even in ODIs, he's nicking that fifth stump ball in rainy conditions. The selectors need to communicate them to move.
I think the selectors have made their reservations a little clear, haven't they? If no one is committing to them playing in 2027, that tells you that they're playing the wait and watch game.
But
Simple as.
how good was the man in the Champions Trophy? Yeah, like,
But
come on.
again,
In great.
if you want to believe, Ajit Agarkar, they are not on trial. In this series, they are not on trial.
Of course, they're not on trial.
So,
If you want to believe.
Rajiv Ranjan is saying 5-6 regular Australians not playing in this match. Still Australia win. But the regular Australian that are not playing in this match, it wasn't a match where they were needed as well. You know what I mean? It was a match that was dominated by their bowlers, and I think Ellis, Hazelwood, and Stark are going to be their bowlers. I think Cummins is the only one in that sense.
Green.
That
some
they
extent.
missed, but we wouldn't have needed him today. That's what I'm saying. Today is
Also
not
Zampa
a match
ahead of a Kuhneman.
that they won, that was played to the distance where everyone comes into the play. Today, where the strengths were, they got full use. Yes, if it's a full 50 over game, so distance where you need like your batting depth, everything needs to come into play, some experience of covering in the middle, and then India wins and you say, okay, fine, Australia missing a few players, I'll agree with you on that front. But I guess today they were not really called into play. It was a game
Correct, yeah.
that needed their bowlers, and I think their bowlers finished the match, and led by, of course, who else?
Josh.
Josh the
Hazelwood.
boss.
The Benjamin bullet. Yep. That Aditya Kavlekar.
Sorry, Aditya.
Aditya Kavlekar. All this Roko business has taken away our attention from the most important thing, Asia Cup trophy.
What happened to that trophy?
It's still there.
November.
In Dubai.
I met a few friends last evening and they asked me the same question. What is it about the trophy that you know and we don't know? I said I know just
It's
as
in
much
Dubai.
as
It's in
It's at
Dubai.
the
just as much as you guys do.
ACC headquarters.
HCC headquarters. It's locked.
It's under lock and key.
there.
President's room.
With
Yeah.
very strict instructions and protocol.
Yes.
Go down.
Rajiv is saying don't talk about Gavaskar, and so Rajiv, who should we talk about? If we're not going to talk about, I'm just saying, if you are going to talk about, let's say, films, if I have to quote an example of Amitabh Bachchan, who else am I supposed to quote an example of?
Yes.
Chunky Pandey or some. So I'm just asking. We're having a cricket if you were discussing fashion
Yeah.
and I quote him, then I do think that it might be, a bit awkward.
Go
It's
down.
like if I'm talking about Delhi food and I give Siddharth's example, it just doesn't add up because he's no expert on that. So, but if you're talking about cricket, you have to talk about an authority on the game. You may like him or not like him. It's completely a personal choice. You're entitled to. But I'm just saying we're making a reference to. No? If we're going to talk about food, you will mention that bungalow chef. What's his name in New York?
Vikas Khanna.
You will mention him.
Yeah.
Just like that only.
Vikas. Yeah.
Okay. Chili paneer. Indian with spinners Like Indian spinners have a king for the leg
Indian
side.
Talking about the Indian
women
women spinners.
Acha.
It's a reference to Deepthi constantly bowling on the.
I was like, does he mean an Indian wrist spinner?
No, women's spinner.
Acha, women's, that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. Our focus is there too. That
There
match
too,
is
yeah.
going on.
That's also not doing that. They're also not in a good position, by the way.
England made a good start.
Yeah, England at this moment are
Stop.
okay.
Scroll slightly.
209 for 2 with Heather Knight doing incredibly
Well,
well.
still got about 11.5 overs left.
Yeah, you could be looking at a 300 plus chase, but Indore is the flattest wicket of them all. So let's see, along with Vizag, let's see how that pans out. Freaking awesome. Many commentators and former players say that Sydney is somewhat similar to subcontinent condition, but India have a terrible record both in tests and ODIs. Why is it, although it's very flat? It's a question that has intrigued me. Sydney, barring the 2024 one, had the flattest conditions in its entire history. Yet India have never won that much in Sydney.
I mean, you came closest, I remember, in the 2003-4 series, but even there you ended up drawing.
You ended up drawing. Yeah. Oh, 21 you just about hung in for a draw. You are outplayed in 14.
But 21 was that one, no? Ashwin and
Vihari.
Yeah.
Hanuma Vihari. Yeah. I don't know why.
Jasmine Haynes.
Selectors and coach have to be strong. If they want Rocco to play India games, should play. No options. Agarkar should convey them the plan on their road to World Cup. Not like, let's see what they do or form.
But the ones who played A game also kind of struggling now. The ones who've been playing consistent cricket have also been struggling. It's my just. They should play. And I think they will have to play Vijay Hazare, I think, right after the Indian games, the ODI games that you have. They'll have to play.
Yep.
S3G Vlog says, Sabko happy Diwali, my cricket family. Thanks for lighting up the year with your cricket analysis right throughout the year, he says. Thank you so much. Also says that regarding today, let's keep the emotions aside. Try Abhishek and Jaiswal instead of Rocco.
No, that I think it'll eventually happen. But why are we in a rush to discard somebody is my point. It'll eventually happen. Those are your future. I think, these two have had, we've often discussed, have had great form just leading up to this. So one ODI, they don't get run and we want them out. And of course it'll happen. Yes, it'll also happen if they go through to have this entire ODI season till IPL, and at the end of the IPL, and if still they haven't gotten runs, yes, then it's a fair discussion to have. But after one ODI, I don't know.
Yeah. Anshu Mishra saying, Nikhil sir, ICC should do something to counter rain. You can't have whitewash every game, whether it is Christchurch yesterday, New Zealand, England, whether it was the Women's World Cup, only whitewashes indeed, and ICC is not doing anything for it.
I think for too long, cricket as a sport has had a very laissez-faire kind of an attitude towards rain. It's like, if it happens, it's part of the game, it's nature, this, that. But boss, you're trying to become you've actually technically become an Olympic sport. How is it that this is something your sport is still so reliant on or so at the mercy of, I may add, conditions? Just not right.
Or what do you do then? Can you upgrade your infrastructure? Roof.
Go for the roof.
Roof.
Tennis has done it.
In our sport, see, we've also seen that viral.
In tennis also, it's an issue.
Yeah, wind and everything plays a great
role. They say that the ball starts traveling faster, but players have adjusted.
See, how do you decide how much height you need?
It's already happened.
Yeah, but we've also seen instances of the ball hitting the roof, right?
Correct. So have a rule.
If it hits the roof,
dead ball.
How many times did it happen? Once in 50 games.
That's the key. How many times will it happen? Not everyone's Mike Hussey.
Yeah.
See, the Docklands.
While I was talking of it, that's the image I had in mind.
See, the Docklands Stadium had a big enough height for it, so that's no issue. I don't know why they have discontinued games at Docklands, because that looked to be quite revolutionary when you look at it. Cricket not been impacted by the weather. That's the one thing. But then, how will you give the funds to boards like New Zealand and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh to upgrade their stadiums? How will you do it? Because
it's not like the ICC makes a lot of money.
Plus with New Zealand.
That was sarcasm.
Because it's only India that makes the money. Rest of others, apart from Australia and England, they don't make money.
I have my doubts about India also going ahead and upgrading to that level. So how many stadiums would you be able to?
Exactly. How many stadiums do you have?
Doubt.
Either you prepare 4 stadiums.
Dilapidated state that half the stadiums are in.
You prepare 4 centers where you will play most of your serious cricket in, and make those roofs.
Try arriving at 4.
But New Zealand will be a problem because of geological issues, earthquake prone zones. So that's why they convert their remaining stadiums also into multi-purpose stadiums. For example, Wellington Basin Reserve, they can't have floodlights Because it's an earthquake-prone zone. What do you do then? So that's the thing.
You play day games over there.
Okay, last two comments. We've got Brian Lara is saying, Nikhil, you're looking at batting perspective only. Australia team had to bowl more power play overs. Could have set up more defensive fields. India know how to plan bowling innings. Yeah, India knew that. I'll completely agree. But then the game had completely changed. I think overall, if you see, Australia picked up those early wickets. They wouldn't have, even if it was no power play, would have kept the same field. I think the bigger disadvantage was India. And your name is Brian Lara, so I'm not going to disagree with you. Then we've got Priyanshu who said, what was more painful to see for Indian cricket fans? Rocco horrible comeback, rain, Iyer dancing against Hazelwood, KL Rahul showing intent on 19th against Australia. Chill guys, happy Diwali. So it's okay, fun thing. Yeah. But good question, Priyanshu. Saraj Chandra is saying, Nikhil sir, Iyer ko short ball though out ho jayega. He can dance any form if he bowls short balls. Yeah, he also got out actually.
And the short ball.
Another short ball.
Yeah, down the leg side.
Straddled it down that side. Two dismissals.
Gill and
him.
Iyer.
But it wasn't like really that kind of ball that, troubles him. Like
No,
he's trying to play up
that's
full.
what made it even worse. It's like even for Gill, the ball was a nothing ball. He was chasing it and got a feather. So
Unlike what Rohit got actually.
that was a lethal ball.
That's all.
Yep.
That was a good ball.
Okay, on that note. Oh, we have something?
Shivam Giri.
Oh, we have Shivam Giri before we wind up. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Sayara tu to
Badla nahi hai. Oh my goodness.
It's a good one.
Oh.
At this point, I think all of us are going to kapde bharo.
I know.
That's a good
I
one.
can imagine that echo. Oh my goodness. I can imagine that echo. Oh.
Yeah.
Very promising start to the segment.
Yeah.
Tauba,
Sara
Sara
mood
mood
kharab
kharab
kar diya. Yeah. 0 of 8, 8 of 14. Yeah. 30 minutes, 22 balls,
that
8
fun.
runs.
I think the start was too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
When you wait 4 months and 16 days to watch a 8-ball duck.
Yeah.
AP Dillon.
Okay.
We did.
I may not be amused anymore, I think.
Yeah. Hey, what we missed in whites.
Oh, that's
Nasty.
That's very nasty. Yeah.
very mean.
That's mean.
Yeah, indeed.
That is mean.
Dear BCCI, no more matches on the 19th. It's a heartbreak date, of course. 19th October, 19th November.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, it's like China's obsession with 4, na? That's a very unlucky number for them.
Yes.
बस 2 मैच और ऐसे खेल जाओ उसके बाद खुद इंस्टाग्राम पर रेट पाएगा.
Are we gonna see May 7th all over again? I don't know. Yeah.
But funny.
सुबह 10 बजे उठे और देखे अक्षर पटेल कैसे ओपनिंग कर रहा है.
Actually, a lot of people.
A lot of people would have been surprised to wake up to that.
Yeah, Akshar was playing the new ball.
Huh?
Your number 5 is playing a new ball. Yeah. विराट कोहली और रोहित की 100 रन की पार्टनरशिप कब देखने को मिलेगा जी?
That no, 10 रुपए का
That's
biscuit.
biscuit. It's that.
Yeah, शादाब जकाती.
It's like you guys don't read it. विराट कोहली और रोहित शर्मा की 100 रन की पार्टनरशिप कब देखने को
मिलेगा जी? Yes, कब देखने को मिलेगा जी? गरम हो रहे हो आप?
गरम हो
गरम हो रहे हैं. I should.
रोहित हेड अच्छा 8
8 or 14.
Both of them got out of 8.
Yeah. Today 3 guys got out on 8.
Yeah.
Shot also I think got out on 8.
Rohit Paglu head, it says that Paglu is like a fan.
Fan.
So he's saying that Head is such a fan of Rohit, he also got out of 8.
Yeah, it comes to the back door. He wants to play with Rohit Sharma in a T20 franchise.
Big hyped up.
Rocco out.
DSP Siraj official not out.
Yeah, he stayed not out. 0-0.
Despite all the efforts, by the way, to get himself out.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yes.
Oh, so this is showing Rohit offering Gill and Rohit sharing KFC popcorn. In fact, there's a funny off the scene moment here where they were showing this visual and Abhishek Nair was doing commentary. Mat khane do.
Yes. I saw that.
Poor guy worked hard on it.
Very hard, yeah.
Wow.
Rocco hype before the match.
Oh. This is that kid
KBC
Ishit
kid.
Bhatt.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's too much. This kid, for his own mental health, you should not scrutinize him.
I agree.
I think the level of discourse has become horrible.
I mean, it all started with 5.
Yeah, leave him alone. Whatever.
Exactly.
I mean, one of the handles, I think that was the starting point of that whole
It
thing.
was many handles, but
Yeah.
this one is harsh. But
Oh.
commentary panel.
For 2027 World Cup.
Very mean.
Oh, good.
So I'd done a social media reaction earlier, and this was another one I'd picked up there only.
Yes.
But people are catching on to this.
And finally, on that note, wishing you guys a very happy Diwali.
Diwali.
Have a great Diwali with friends and family. From all of us here from Sports Today, wishing all of you have a safe Diwali.
Oh, don't go there.
Please. Yeah, let's not
Stay
even go
away
there.
from
Eat well,
green crackers.
sit.
Or crackers.
That's a different debate. I'm not getting into it, but safe Diwalis. Enjoy with your friends and family. Eat a lot. And take care of yourselves. Until
Yes.
next time.
Bye-bye.
All of us here. Bye-bye. Take care.
Nandri, Vanakkam.
Shubhratri, Shabbat.
It's not yet Shubh Ratri, but theek hai. Eat your vegetables. Don't trouble your mother.
Bye.
Bye-bye.